I'm Frank and Shi. This is the wave. Thailand is making strides to a cryptocurrency adoption by launching Sandbox in Phuket. Should the country embrace the crypto market, or will a more cautious approach be conducive? Joining me now is the group's CEO of Bitkub, Jirayut Srupsrisopa, to join me now to talk about cryptocurrency market and, of course, the country's growth in the future. So thank you for your time, Top.
Thank you for having me, Frank.
Thank you. At the beginning, I think we should have to talk about this story. This is very new in January. That Top, of course, the new one, not the real one, not the AI one, but on the cover of Forbes Thailand in January. What's the highlight that you talk about in this cover in this magazine?
Sure. So I talked about the importance of the country, like Thailand, urgently taking action on the national Bitcoin strategic reserve, because the US is taking the action. Yep. They have about 1% of all the Bitcoin in circulation right now, and they're going to buy more Bitcoin in the next 5 years until they reach about roughly 5% or 1 million Bitcoin in the next 5 years. China has 190,000 Bitcoins. The US has 210,000 Bitcoins, almost on par. Right? The UK has roughly about 60,000 Bitcoins. Yeah. Bhutan, has 10,000 Bitcoins already. UAE, they invested $40 billion in Bitcoin overall in UAE already. So every other countries started to explore these initiatives and taking action. Brazil, they are putting the bill into the parliament on the Bitcoin strategic reserve. Yeah. Europe is also taking action. And I talked about the cost of, the biggest opportunity cost of taking action too late. Because, if you were to go backwards 2 years ago, the cost of Bitcoin was only 600,000 baht per Bitcoin. Right? And Bhutan was able to use 6 billion Thai baht to acquire 10,000 Bitcoins. Fast forward to today, 2 years fast forward, it's only been 2 years. If Thailand were to match Bhutan's amount, 10,000 Bitcoin, we have to lose at least 36 billion Thai baht instead of 6 billion. That's 6 times more expensive within just 2 years. The cost of capital that we lost on this opportunity cost. And if the prediction is right about the 2030, that Bitcoin is going to reach $1 million per Bitcoin, then it's going to be an additional 10x more expensive for the cost of inaction for Thailand. Right? It's going to be an additional 10x more expensive from today onwards to acquire the same amount of Bitcoin as Bhutan. I think it's an arms race with other nations now to launch this Bitcoin strategic reserve. And it's not just the arms race against different nations. Public listed companies are also taking actions. BlackRock from the US acquired almost 400,000, I think 400,000 Bitcoins. MicroStrategy has almost reached 400,000 Bitcoin. Metaplanet, the MicroStrategy of Japan, is planning to acquire 10,000 Bitcoins by the end of this year. Every other country is adopting this Bitcoin strategic reserve. National Bitcoin strategic reserve, publicly listed Bitcoin strategic reserve, personal strategic Bitcoin reserve. So there's this arms race, and it's the biggest, inaction that causes the biggest opportunity cost. Yeah. So I talked about that as the first thing in the book. And the second thing that I talked is about creating a financial platform of the future. How every generation we have to be the one, sacrificing for the generation to jumpstart a new infrastructure for each generation. For example, in the grandparents' generation. So, for example, Kun Chin Sophonpanit saw the vision. Right? He had the vision that Thailand needed a bank. So he was the one from his generation that made the sacrifice and jumpstart a bank, like the Bangkok Bank, which is a critical infrastructure for the country, even up to today. And in the parents' generation, someone else saw the vision, took the action, and started the stock exchange of Thailand. So we are the one representing our newer generation, and we're the one creating this financial platform of the future where remittances, payments, loans can be done within one universal platform. We call this digital asset exchange, when the future of money is no longer paper-based. So I talked about two important ideas in that Forbes edition.
I think 2 points. These are very important because actually we talk a lot about these two significant projects or significant angles here that Thailand should take the action immediately because, of course, in comparison to like 5 years ago, maybe the Bitcoin right now is expensive, but right now it's still the great timing for you and for the country to adopt cryptocurrency or Bitcoin as the strategic reserve. Of course, you have a lot of discussions with the government. Somehow, the public sector, not just in Thailand, other world, other countries is quite conservative when they have the new initiative.
Right.
How can you push forward, as in when you talk to the government officers, no matter prime minister or the high-end official officers there, what's the chance to unlock this strategic initiative to get Bitcoin as a strategic reserve? Because we haven't seen any practical policy yet.
Yeah. Thailand is very conservative. We always have to wait and see what Singapore is doing. We need to copy Singapore. If Singapore doesn't take action, we will not take action. We are very conservative. And coming from a private sector, all we can do is education. We have to provide as much information as possible. Come out and voice out. As one of the Thai citizens, we have a collective responsibility, I think, to educate the market, to voice out the vision of the future. But it's not really up to us to, and I don't think we know how to navigate the red tapes, right? I think that's the difficult part. How do we navigate this red tape to convert the inaction towards action, actionable tickets, acquire this Bitcoin strategy reserve ASAP. I don't think we're in that position to navigate the red tapes ourselves.
Do you think it's too late to implement the strategic reserve for Bitcoin for Thailand?
It's not too late because only the major countries are taking action, like the China, U.S., U.K., UAE region, Ukraine, Russia, but not the rest. There are 197 countries.
Yeah.
So I'd say the top 10 countries are taking action. And the other, I don't know, maybe this year, 20 more countries considering into passing the bill into their parliament. Yeah. It's not too late. We're still in the early phase, but the cost of inaction is going to be so expensive. The longer it takes us to decide, the more expensive it will cost the country.
How about the initiative of your platform, Bitkub, that in 2024, of course, you have supported, no matter it's public sector or even other private sector, towards the digital transformation or blockchain adoption. How about in 2025?
So I've been in this space for 11 years now, and I'm very proud of what we have achieved. Within 11 years, Thailand has one of the highest crypto adoption per capita in the world. Right? 1 out of every 7 people here have our application on their phone across the whole country, more concentrated in Bangkok. We have 5 million customers across the nation, and we have created a lot of new wealth for especially the newer generation who believed in what we do in the past 11 years. But going forward, I think what we're leaving behind is a critical infrastructure for Thailand. In every country going forward, there is a need to have this digital asset infrastructure. just like Bitkub for Thailand, Coinbase for the US, right? Bitflyer for Japan, Indodax for Indonesia. There is one critical digital asset exchange infrastructure because the future of finance, the future of money will no longer be paper-based. The protocol layer will no longer be paper-based. It will be digital protocol.
Yeah.
So we need digital infrastructure. We need digital rail. We cannot connect to physical rail. Right? We need a different infrastructure that is compatible towards the digital rail that allows remittances in a more efficient, effective manner, that allows effective loans, disbursement of loans, that allows exchanges of currency, currency exchanges, no longer rely on physical bricks and mortar businesses for this, that allows fundraising of the future. And, if a person with a phone that is connected to the internet, sitting in a chair in Africa versus another person sitting in a big chair at Wall Street, they have the equal chances of investing in a good project, right? We can tap the global liquidity on this future infrastructure, and every country needs to have this, right? And we are very proud that we put in 11 years of effort to make sure that Thailand is not falling behind. And we're building a future bank. We're building a future stock exchange. We're building a future money exchange. We are building a future Western Union. All of them are going to be in all one universal platform, financial platform of the future. Just like Facebook, how they were able to combine digital radio, digital television, digital newspapers into one universal platform. In the past, they used to be single channel applications, and now we have all channels application on Facebook. Right? We can watch videos, we can listen to podcasts, we can read news. It's becoming a universal information sharing platform. So we need one for the value exchange, value sharing industry as well.
It's a very good vision there, but what we talk about when you have to change or transform a very conservative or traditional platform to a new platform, there must be some challenges. But you talk about infrastructure is very important for Thailand too. As in, of course, we talk about former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawat's opinion there about Phuket Sandbox scheme, the project there. And of course, you give kind of like a praise to that sandbox. What do you think about that? Because Bitcoin right now is useful there.
I mean, let me say it again. The cost of inaction is going to be so expensive, right? And Kun Thaksin is a visionary leader. We're lucky to have him as a leader. I mean, he's 70, 80 years old, but he has a lot of Bitcoin compared to his peers in his generation, right? He's very forward-thinking, very advanced, compared to his 70, 80-year-old friends, right? And that's the direction of where the world is heading. Tokenization, digital asset tokenization. Look at Thailand today. We have a huge issue with the household debt. And we don't really know how to stimulate the economy. The growth of the economy last year was really stagnated, very low, low. And the traditional way to stimulate the economy was via fiscal spending. Right? The government would think of a project and inject new money into the economy, but that has a cost. It comes with an additional cost of destroying this debt to GDP ratio. Right? Now, debt to GDP ratio is at the highest level ever in the Thai financial history, at 90+% now. And imagine that if Phuket Sandbox is launched and the government is able to remove this capital gain tax on digital assets, because it's not practical anyways. Right? People are cashing out in Dubai because there's no capital gain tax. Right? There's so many Rolls Royce running around Dubai with 50 degrees temperature. Nobody wants to live in the desert, right? But everyone cashed out there, and eventually remits money to their related destinations. So imagine if Thailand is able to remove this capital gain tax We have very nice like mountains. We have very nice beaches. We can definitely beat desert. Right? Everyone wants to be here, and everyone is going to be cashing out in Phuket, in Thailand. Right? The whole cryptocurrency market combined, Bitcoin just reached 100,000 again dollars today. Right? The whole cryptocurrency market combined is $4 trillion US dollars. That is 8 times of Thailand's GDP. 8 Thailands as a country. 8 Thailand. Right? Imagine if Thailand is able to remove capital gain tax and $4 trillion US dollars is not cashing out in Dubai, but it's cashing out in Phuket, cashing out in Thailand.
Yeah.
That's 8 times GDP per year, like injection to stimulate the economy.
Yeah.
Would that impact the debt to GDP ratio of the country? No, it's new money. It's money from the outside. It's not money that the government has to borrow, right? It's new stimulus package from the outside. 4 trillion, 8 times GDP, new income for everyone in the country. And it's going to create this trickle-down impact, right, to every household around Thailand to lift up the average income, right, standard of living in the country. It's no-brainer. And Thailand also needs to remove this or launch this crypto as payment policy. And Phuket Sandbox is paving the way. Right? We need to be able to pay for stuff with cryptocurrency because the future of work is moving towards this direction. There are people sitting in Phuket, in Chiang Mai, servicing 10 companies at the same time. We call these guys nano entrepreneurs. Right? They're charging nano contracts. $5 per contract, $10 per contract, and they're servicing 10 companies per day. Traditional payment method is not feasible. You cannot wire $5 overseas because it's not economical to wire $5 overseas. It's not feasible. But with cryptocurrency, you can. You can wire $1, $2 overseas. And these guys are receiving their payments in crypto. And if you're not unlocking this crypto as payment, they cannot become a contributive member of the society. They cannot spend money, in a frictionless manner in Phuket, in Thailand. Right? And if Thailand is able to remove this, apart from 4 trillion US dollars, that is going to increase to 100 trillion, I think, in the next decade. The whole cryptocurrency market combined is going to reach 100 trillion in the next decade. Right? Apart from 4 trillion today, injecting to stimulate the economy, the future of work, nano-entrepreneurs, crypto nomads, digital nomads that are working around Phuket, Thailand, they can become useful. They can become a contributive member of the society. They can, enjoy their proceeds. They can spend their proceeds, their income with crypto, right? They're earning incomes in crypto. They can stimulate the economy. They can enjoy the goods and services that Thailand has to offer with crypto, right? And that's going to create additional income to the country. I mean, it's no-brainer. I see. It's very a sensible thing to do.
Do you believe that the crypto as payment will be very pragmatic in Thailand? Because of course we see the Phuket Bitcoin project now. It still takes some time for regulators, for example, the Bank of Thailand. Right now, Bank of Thailand, of course, their policy is still very traditional and conservative in terms of stable coin, in terms of digital, but even right now, it's still on the table in the air right now. So how do you foresee that crypto as payment and the stable coin in the country too?
To be honest, I haven't got much hope for either Bitcoin, National Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, or crypto as payment, or the removal of capital gain tax on cryptocurrency. Thailand is very conservative, and the transition, the change, cannot happen from the inside out. It has to be from the outside in. The rest of the world has to force us to change. So my prediction would be we're going to be one of the last countries to adapt.
What's the implication to that if we are the last one adopting?
The cost of inaction. It's going to be very expensive. Bitcoin is $100,000 today, could reach $1 million in the next 5 years. If Bitcoin were to match Bhutan's level amount of Bitcoin, 10,000 Bitcoin, it's going to cost us an additional 10x, 10 times more expensive, right? It's going to, instead of costing us, $1 billion US today to acquire 10,000 Bitcoin, it's going to cost us $10 billion in the next 5 years. The cost of inaction is too expensive. And the future of finance is not going to be in Thailand. Thailand is not going to be the financial hub of the future if we're not able to take this action on crypto as payments. All the extra cash, extra new money will be entering Dubai instead of Thailand. We're going to have to do it the old traditional ways of getting into more debt, ramping up the spending via debt to GDP ratio, ruining our country's confidence by getting into more debt collectively. And I mean, it's a bit sad that Thailand is a country of digital nomads, tourism, right? We are the leader of tourism. But the future of payments for tourism is digital currency. It's not compatible. We have very nice endowments, like mountains, beaches. Everyone wants to be here. Nice food, nice culture, nice people. But the policy is not compatible. That's the thing that we are lacking.
Actually, one aspect you talk about is that, of course, under your platform, there are 5 million customers there. In the country, of course, we have around 70 million people.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe the government and Thai people, right now, I mean, at this point, they still believe in fiat currency, which means traditional currency that we use right now in Thailand is Thai baht. How would you really convey your message that digital currency is the future, but fiat currency might wind away in the future?
I mean, cryptocurrency is a new payment method, right? It's not a competitor of fiat. For example, I guess the best analogy is to compare this to the credit cards. Credit card is not really competing with fiat. It's a payment gateway. Cryptocurrency is an additional payment gateway. End to end, it's still going to be fiat. Right? Imagine a small noodle shop owner, right, selling noodles on the streets. This auntie selling noodles is not going to know what format of money that digital nomad is paying her with. She's going to have the QR code for fiat. She's going to have the credit card swipe machines. She's going to have the digital asset, digital currency QR code. And if the customer decided to pay with the digital currency QR code, there will be a payment gateway, just like Visa or MasterCard as a payment gateway for the card payment method. Bitkub is acting as a payment gateway for cryptocurrency. Right? We're going to be translating, we're going to be converting into fiat in a seamless, humanized, frictionless manner. At the end of the day, that auntie selling noodles is going to receive her noodles service payment in fiat.
Just one of the various channels, like you can pay by QR code, you can pay by fiat currency, you can pay by digital currency too, as what you said, just one additional channels that give it service.
Yep. So I guess the best analogy is to look at it this way. If today Thailand has a policy to not be able to accept credit cards, do you think all the Chinese customers, right, or Thailand has the policy to never, illegal, impossible to accept WeChat Pay or Alipay? Do you think Chinese customers are gonna, Chinese tourists are gonna be traveling to Thailand? Right? Payment method is one of the biggest deterministic factor, right, of spending. They're gonna choose neighboring countries because it's not efficient. And cryptocurrency is just an additional payment method. It's not competing with fiat. Right? People can choose to pay with credit cards. At the end of the day, that auntie selling noodles is going to receive her payment in fiat with credit cards. With cryptocurrency, it's the same thing. She doesn't need to know what Visa card, what MasterCard is. She just needs to know that money hits her bank account, right, in fiat.
Right. So you just explained to us about, of course, the digital payment, crypto payment gateway actually is just one of the additional channel. for people on the ground to use. So it's not a competitive measure there. Actually, it's they can stay together in a way that people can use it. Another point we have to talk about today is about the economy in Thailand. Of course, we just talked about the economic performance about Thailand, which might be at the bottom of the chart in ASEAN.
Very low.
Very low. So, of course, this year we talk about artificial intelligence. We talk about intelligent age. We talk about the collaboration for the digital age in the future. What do you make of Thailand's economic growth in 2025? What's the target there? What should the government do?
I think the lowest hanging fruit is to join this DEFA, Digital Economy Framework Agreement, which is happening this year, 2025. Thailand was the host last year, right, of DEFA. We need to really, last year we agreed on 50% of the DEFA agreement. We need to really complete this. We need to push it to 100%, so that the 10 countries in ASEAN is coming together as one, ASEAN strong, right? Because ASEAN region is entering its golden era, post 24. Everyone is looking at us now as a land of opportunity, as an area of region of opportunity. There will be an unprecedented amount of capital inflow, right? Capital surges into this region. So we need to really form a regionalization effort to grasp this opportunity. So I think this is the lowest hanging fruit. And there's an estimation even if we agree up to 60% of the DEFA agreement, it's enough to attract at least $2 trillion into the region. And Indonesia is expected to grow 1.5 times instantly, right? And LDC, countries like Laos, Myanmar, Cambodia, they are expected to grow 3 to 5 times, 300 to 500% with these regional alliances forming as a legally binding agreement, DEFA. I think that's the first lowest hanging fruit that Thailand needs to push on to complete this DEFA agreement, to create this one ASEAN strong. The second thing that the country should do is to invest in frontier technological infrastructure. Right? Premier Lee Hsien, Prime Minister of China, said that traditional sector has stopped growing. There's no premium left. It's all about price cutting. Since the Industrial Revolution up to today, everyone knows, acquired the same skills. It's all about price cutting. We have been engaging in this red ocean competition, right? Red ocean. And the way for the country to grow, to move forward, for the way for the world to grow, is to invest in this science and technology revolution. Right? We need to invest in AI, artificial intelligence, to unlock productivity growth. We need to invest in blockchain technology. We need to invest in internet from the sky. We need to invest in AR, VR, MR technology. Internet is moving towards three-dimensional. Right? We need to invest in these IoT devices, Internet of Things, where cars will become what we call a smart and internet-based, energy-conserving vehicle, another subset of the Internet of Things. We need to invest in 3D printing. We need to invest in longevity. These are new premium industries, technology that we have to pave the way forward to unlock new growth for the country. There's no premium left from the traditional sector. If we were to just purely rely on traditional sectors, we're going to see very low growth rates. But if we are able to transform the country with digital initiatives, with frontier technology, fourth industrial revolution, infrastructure, then we're going to see hyper growth impact.
So, of course, you talk about traditional industry here, because, of course, last year we see that growth is not that high either. Actually, for DEFA, for the innovation, science, technology, those investments, I've interviewed many times. We've talked about it for 2 years. What's the push for that in 2025? Of course, you just talk about maybe inside out from the private sector or other countries, their stress or pressure to Thailand can really push our leader to push for change. But now we haven't seen that yet. And Actually, I just come back from Malaysia. They have that decade-long initiative for semiconductor AI too. How about Thailand?
To have the additional push for DEFA, I think we need more dialogue. Right? We need to get the 10 countries leaders together, and we need a neutral ground, a neutral platform for them to get into deep discussion on how to expedite the DEFA agreement. So I guess the leaders need to meet more often and put priorities on DEFA to be able to maximize the opportunity coming into ASEAN, capital surges into ASEAN. But for Thailand, another short-term issue that we need to urgently fix is the household debt. We need to have a strong roots for the tree to grow. First, we need to fix the roots. One of the root causes of the health of the economy is the household debt. We need to reduce the household debt ASAP as soon as possible. We need to have this financial education across to a wider range of population here in Thailand. We need to reskill, upskill, human capital in the country. Vietnam is able to train 500,000 students per year on science and technology revolution. Thailand is barely 10,000, 50x different. There's a big difference. We need to somehow train the new workforce of generation of workforce to acquire the right skill sets of the future. But at the same time, to not leave anyone behind. We should not leave anyone behind. How do we reskill, upskill? How do we fix the pre-distribution of education? Because people live longer, right? We have to work, on average 50 years now instead of 30 years because we live longer. Longevity, impact. But 4 years of traditional university used to be enough to prepare us for 30 years of work. But if we have to work for 50 years, then 4 years is no longer sufficient. So we need to fix the pre-distribution of education as well as the redistribution of education. What about the ones graduated already? What about the ones in the job market already? How do we reskill, upskill them to make sure that they can transition, they can acquire relevant skill sets of the future? These are social contracts that we need to redefine. The role of female leaders, the role of technology changing the future of work. Crypto as payment is another compatible policy that is in line with the future of work, right? Nano-entrepreneurship. And another scary issue is the demographic of the Thai population. Last year, there were more people dying than being born, giving birth. And if we were to keep on going at this rate, in the next 50 years, there will only be 33 million Thai people in Thailand. 50%. And what about social security? Right? Who's going to be handling that? The ones working is shrinking. The ones not working is living longer. The one being born is also shrinking. Who's going to be handling this social contract? Social security. So we need to redefine social contract. Right? That's a domestic issue that we need to urgently fix too.
So there are so many issues that you talk about, no matter it's household debt, although it's already decreasing right now, but still high in comparison to other countries. How about those issues in society that maybe the policymakers should really do their work and give their initiative to solve promptly at this moment? So, okay, thank you so much. I think Kun Top this time you also give us a lot of point about Bitcoin, about the crypto strategic reserve and those issues in the society. Thank you so much for your time. And of course, safe trip to Davos there. So we might have the chance to talk to you on air again. So of course, Group CEO of Bitkub, Kun Jirayut Srupsrisopa here. More news to come.